everybody. Welcome back to Beyond the Hot Flash podcast. Today, I'm so excited to introduce Shirley Weir to you. She is Canada's Menopause Chick. Welcome, Shirley. So nice to have you today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it is so great. You know, Shirley and I met, it must be like a year or 2 years ago. I'm not sure.
2 years.
2 years? Okay. And we met in an environment where it was kind of like a little mini conference about menopause. And Shirley was standing there with a book that she'd written, a wonderful magic cream, which we will get to. So you need to get to the end of this podcast. And she had such a cool story and I resonated with it. So Shirley, it's really wonderful to have you here today. I'm so excited for the listeners to get your side of the story. So let's get started. Let's get into it. Let's talk a bit about you. Tell me about your journey and how you got to Menopause Chicks.
Sure. Thank you so much. I'm 58 years old. I reached menopause when I was 49. I live in Vancouver, British Columbia, and I'm the founder of Menopause Chicks, which is an online education platform with the mission that women will be able to access quality, evidence-based information and make the health decisions that are right for them. So it's really about not telling you what to do, but empowering everyone with information and options so that we can get on with living our best lives.
And that is so, so key for all of us. I think maybe let's kick off with defining, maybe some of you have heard this over and over, but I think for the listeners, there are a lot of people that talk to me and say, Andrea, perimenopause, what is that? I didn't even know it was a thing. So there are still people who don't actually get it. Can we talk about perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause, the key differences?
I love to start there too, because it can be confusing. So menopause is two things. It's used as an umbrella term to talk about phases of life, let's say from our mid-30s till the grave. But specifically, the definitions are that menopause is the end of ovulation. So it's the last egg has been developed and therefore you no longer get a period. You can still not have reached menopause if you have your uterus removed. So I've stopped using period as the marker because you might not be getting a period, but you might not have reached menopause yet. But for the majority of women, it is that end of our reproductive years. And then there's a phase of life leading up to menopause called perimenopause, as you mentioned. And perimenopause is a really new term. It was only coined in 1996.
Wow.
So really new in terms of medical vernacular, really new in terms of research. We hardly have any. But if you think about it, you just kind of take a step back and think about, let's say the 2 years before puberty. Individuals' bodies are changing, and they're changing because they're preparing for the reproductive years. So a good way to think of perimenopause is it's a few years preparing us for the end of our reproductive years. And then postmenopause is every day for the rest of our lives. And that is really important because, of course, the average age of a woman's life is extending, but the statistics that we face for conditions related to our heart, brain, bones, and our genitourinary health, those aren't going away. In fact, they're climbing. So we're at this window of opportunity where we have a chance to, learn about what's happening now and take care of ourselves now. And we have this opportunity to invest in the future.
And so when you went through menopause, I don't know if you're happy to share your story. I mean, what were the first things that started to happen for you? And sort of your age, you said at 49, right?
Yeah, so I reached menopause at 49, which means my last menstrual period was when I was 48. But in my early 40s, there were things that were happening that I really didn't know anything about, even though I have an older sister. Her health journey is very different from mine. My experiences related to sleep deprivation for the first time in my life, PMS, premenstrual syndrome, for the first time in my life, changes to mood, and some women will experience changes to bleeding. I don't remember that from my early 40s, but of course I did experience that a little bit as I got closer and closer to age 48. And so now what we know, or what I had to learn, and I share with all the menopause chicks, is that that is generally the experiences associated with progesterone. And progesterone is the hormone that's produced in the second half of our cycle. Estrogen is produced in the first half of our cycle, and its main role, among hundreds of other things, is to develop an egg and send it on its way. And then when progesterone is released, it supports our mood and supports our sleep and supports our bleeding. But in perimenopause, it starts to decline. And when that happens, and estrogen can be doing some wild fluctuations too, those are generally the experiences that women will notice most commonly. And then, of course, as we reach menopause and estrogen declines too, there could be additional experiences. Probably one of the most popular is vasomotor symptoms, which is the proper term for hot flashes and night sweats. And that seems to get a lot of headline news and a lot of airplay. But the reality is that every individual needs to know the roles and responsibilities of both estrogen and progesterone and what impact that's going to have on their health. Yeah.
I think for me, it's my immediate thing was mood swings, like noticeable PMS.
Noticeable.
And then vasomotor as well.
Yeah.
Just that incredible heat that comes from you don't know where, but it's somewhere in the midsection, and you're shopping and you have a sweater on and you're like, if I could just strip off right now. It is so bad. And this heat, it goes to the back, to the front, to the head, and somehow it's just absolutely crazy. And I don't know if you ever felt this, but sometimes I feel like I could bring it on myself. Like I can feel it coming if I have hot food, or I've been running around and like vacuuming the house, doing stuff, and then I have a cup of coffee. Oh, definitely. But you know, it comes up at the most inopportune time. It's just how it is. It's not necessarily a specific time of the day.
Yeah, so for sure the shopping thing, because my daughter, of course, was like 11, 12 at the time. And so I can remember, you know, I'm still shopping with her, and she would be doing her thing, and then I would have to stand in line to pay. And I would be in like lineups going, I don't think I'm going to make it through this transaction. I've got to get out of here. So I do remember that very clearly. It didn't last for long. But you bring up something that I think allows us to emphasize some clarity. So you do not cause hot flashes by drinking coffee, by eating spicy food, or by shopping. Okay?
Great.
Those things
Tell me.
might exacerbate your symptoms, but it's really important that everyone understands the root cause of vasomotor symptoms. And the root cause is not coffee. It is hormone fluctuation or decline. And so a hot flash or a vasomotor symptom needs to be repositioned as a tap on the shoulder or as the check engine light coming on in your car. So instead of being like, oh, darn it, I had coffee and I caused these hot flashes, we have to think, oh, the check engine light is on in my car. I need to get curious and find out what's happening. This is an invitation for me to prioritize what's going on. And then I obviously have some choices to make, maybe some education first and then some choices. But that, if we can do one thing in this conversation, it's to just make sure that you're not to blame, but to get really curious about the root cause.
And I think for all of us, especially with the way we've been educated as women or not educated, there was never a lot of stuff available. My mom, I'm so sorry, my mom passed and I never asked her, you know, but what you're also saying is that every single woman has their own journey. One person might be experiencing this. Some people sail through menopause and just didn't really notice.
About 20% sail through.
There you go. So incredible. Let's talk a little bit about, are there some of the symptoms, you know, in your book you mentioned, which is mind-blowing, had no idea. And I want to just mention some of these because everybody talks about the hot flashes, the night sweats, or whatever it is, because maybe those are more prevalent. But there are other symptoms that women are experiencing that aren't often spoken about. Anything that comes to mind for you?
Yeah. So the most mind-blowing symptoms for me are the ones that are not related to hormone fluctuations, but that social media and even the medical community blame on menopause. Okay.
Wow.
Biggest examples that I come across is fatigue. Fatigue and exhaustion. It's almost as if women stood in a line where they got handed out, a stick that said, prepare to be tired for the rest of your life. And that is not fair.
No.
And it's not true. So fatigue and exhaustion, I could talk about others like hair loss and restless leg syndrome and heart palpitations. All of those things, when you look at the root cause, they probably fall into iron deficiency, which many women are iron deficient simply because of our diets or because we bleed.
Right.
Or those same symptoms can also be associated with a thyroid condition. And a thyroid condition is one of the most underdiagnosed conditions for women. Why? Because women have been told, expect to be tired and exhausted all the time. And so for me, those are the things that are like, they require a lot of conversation. So that's why I'm grateful for this opportunity today.
Sure.
To unpack that for individuals, because we have to change our thinking. And then on the other side, I talked about this a little bit with postmenopause. Some of my learning that was very surprising was the relationship between what our hormones do when cycles are regular and postmenopause. So a big example is osteoporosis, bone loss. When our cycles are regular, estrogen is protecting our heart, our brain, our bones, and our genitourinary health. So when I say genitourinary, I mean vulva, vagina, urethra, bladder, the overall pelvic floor. Okay. Post-menopause, when we don't have that hormone production, we are at risk of losing bone density, fracture, and living with osteoporosis, which is not reversible.
Yeah.
So that's a big surprise for me.
It's very scary for me, and it's a big motivator for me to use HRT, for instance, because bone density is everything. I mean, I'm a yoga teacher. I'm teaching strength.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm teaching strength training. I'm using your body weight, building bone density. We even have scientific proof that yoga can improve your bone density by 30% if you're using body weight. So we know that even if you're lifting weights, which I've started to do. So I know that this is a big kicker and driver for when you're doing your research about going through menopause, and we're going to use menopause as the general term, right, of this journey.
The umbrella.
Is super important. So I agree with you. Bone density, massive. And then heart disease, I think you mentioned.
Yes.
There's a couple of things, and those are big risk factors.
We've been so socialized and conditioned to be afraid of certain things, and I get that, but we have to, at every conversation, at every backyard barbecue, at every podcast, remind ourselves that heart disease and stroke is the number one killer, premature killer of women. And when estrogen declines at menopause, cholesterol and blood pressure go up. So again, if we go back to that analogy of getting an invitation, standing in line, having a hot flash in the shopping mall is an invitation, if nothing else, to get to our doctors and have our cholesterol and our blood pressure checked. Because you might be 48, 49, 52, whatever, and you might not have had any cardiovascular checks, at least in a long time.
Right. Yeah. So important. Many women experience significant changes. We spoke about vaginal health and specifically intimacy. And it's a topic that we avoid. And women don't want to talk about it. It's like, oh, this is also another thing, for the rest of my life, this is how it's going to be, perhaps. Can you speak to the importance of really just addressing these changes?
Yeah, for sure. I separate vulva and vaginal health from intimacy. I think
Great.
they're two topics, obviously related and lots of crossover. So vulva and vaginal health is impacted by the decline of estrogen. The whole pelvic floor relies on estrogen when our cycles are regular, and it also relies on other molecules that our body makes on their own. One is hyaluronic acid. So hyaluronic acid is a naturally occurring molecule. Both hyaluronic acid and estrogen help to keep our eyes moist, and our mouth moist, and our skin moist, and our joints lubricated, and our vulvas and vaginas healthy. When we lose those ingredients, if you will, dryness is one of the most common experiences. Now, lots of people will make a big leap and think, oh, dryness means pain with insertive sex. And while that's true, I like to take a step back and say, dryness can make wearing your jeans uncomfortable. It can mean, not being able to sit or go to yoga or go dancing or do the things that you enjoy. Other things that can be impacted are our urinary health. So the urethra also misses estrogen. And, women, older women, we just don't want this to happen where you start saying no to social invitations because you're worried about, oh, I don't think there will be a bathroom, or I don't think I can go out for 3 hours with my girlfriends. I think I'll just stay closer to home. Then, the domino effect starts to impact our health overall. So, pelvic floor physiotherapy is something that I encourage all of my members to explore. Don't wait until you have symptoms or that you're suffering. You can do it proactively, just like we go to the dentist proactively a couple times a year. You can do that with your pelvic floor physiotherapist. Also, have a conversation with your healthcare provider about vaginal hormone therapy. The conversation has come a long way. It used to be very quiet, both on the patient and the practitioner side, and I now feel that it is getting louder, and I am so happy. In just the last couple of years, both the American and the Canadian Urological Association have recommended and endorsed vaginal hormone therapy for the prevention of UTIs. And so UTI is a urinary tract infection. Anyone can get a UTI at any age and stage, but women in postmenopause experience reoccurring UTIs, 3, 4, or more a year, and that can be debilitating.
I hear about it all the time. If you have persistent UTIs, go and speak to your doctor. Go and speak about the benefits of what exactly we're talking about today. Right, Shirley?
For sure. And to clarify for your listeners, if you have a UTI, do take the treatment. So it's going to be an antibiotic treatment. But your goal then is to prevent a UTI from reoccurring, because if you continue to just take antibiotics, they will become less and less effective. So take the treatment, get rid of the infection, and then prevent using vaginal estrogen.
Correct. And we all know how debilitating a UTI is. If I'm sure at least everybody's had it once that's watching this, it is awful. So can you imagine getting that one after the other? So okay, great. So to the point about talking to our doctors, and our healthcare providers. There are a lot of women out there who feel dismissed. They don't feel supported. They're not feeling heard by the people that they're speaking to. And a lot of the times on this podcast, I say, guys, go and just find someone else. Find the person where you feel supported and heard. But we're going to talk to you now about that. Let's talk about women advocating for themselves. Let's get into this topic.
Okay, sure. So I come to this topic with a couple of statistics. One is there's 7 million Canadians right now who do not have a general practitioner on their team. And that sucks.
Yeah.
So if they need healthcare, they are trying to navigate walk-in clinics or online virtual clinics, and they don't have that continued care. The second statistics that I bring and I live every day in the Menopause Chicks community is that over half of women leave their health appointments feeling dismissed or disappointed. And that statistic is from a study called inherwords.ca. The thing about that statistic, more than half, just like let that soak in, that number is higher for Indigenous women and women of color. Dismissal is rampant. And the top 2 reasons for their doctor's appointment in the first place, menstruation and menopause.
Wow.
So we have a huge gap. So let's talk about people that do have a family doctor, a general practitioner on their team. I have really sat with this overwhelming statistic for a few years, and I've decided to work with my members on a system. I call it Speak Menopause or Script Tips, because we're trying to navigate a system that wasn't built for us. Right. And that can sound manipulative, but it's the truth, and it's our reality that we're living in right now. Hopefully it's not the reality for my daughter and her friends. But for now, there's a lot of people saying, we need more doctors, we need to educate more doctors, we need a new system. And all of that's great, but that doesn't help the 49-year-old today who, like you said, has just left her appointment feeling dismissed. So I pose the question, what if we show up differently? Because we do have an appointment with someone who has graduated medical school, who has a prescribing license, and who has taken an oath to do no harm. So what if instead of putting all the power on their side of the table, we take the power with us into the appointment? And what I mean by that is learning how our hormones work when cycles are regular, so that we can identify and connect what our experiences are with those changes, right? So I'm experiencing changes to mood and sleep. I believe that's a decline in progesterone. Why? Because I'm 49 years old. And so taking that education and then putting it into a script that really invites our healthcare provider to work with us. And it takes that power dynamic to a new level. The reason I screwed up my face when you said find another provider is that you have the agency to build the health team that's right for you. So everyone listening to this, you have the agency. But I know that if you live in Fort St. John, British Columbia, or Northern Ontario, you can't just, like, I live in an urban center. A lot of Canadians can't just walk down the street and find another doctor, which is a common phrase we actually hear in the United States. And that's probably one of the distinctive differences between our healthcare systems. But for the majority of women in the Menopause Chicks community, building a health team is not even in the cards, either because they don't have the resources or the resources aren't available for them where they live. So what if we change how we show up for the appointment? And I teach women script tips. I can even write out script tips for members that it just changes the conversation. And 99.9% of the time they are working. I've only had one doctor put up her hand in my member's face and say, I've been doing this for 27 years. Who are you to come in here and tell me what you want? And she's like, well, it's my life. It's my health. But anyway, we got her sorted out as well. But for the most examples, women come back and say, my doctor couldn't believe that I showed up so prepared and that we got it all done in 9 minutes.
Imagine getting a script. That's so great. That makes complete sense. You're not arriving on the back foot. Yeah. And those feelings of being dismissed, it's like, you'll probably get it. You feel like you're talking to a parent. It's the parent-child relationship. Yeah. And it's just awful. It's like, here you are arriving, almost begging, like, I need you to help me. Maybe some of you have had those responses. Oh, you're too young to be in perimenopause.
Yeah, I got that.
You know what? You know, those dismissive comments. It's just not a fun ride. No. But always to go in prepared. I love that. That's fantastic. So in the show notes for the podcast and then also for YouTube, I'm going to put down all the information of how to get onto Menopause Chicks. We're going to talk about that in a moment. So I'm excited. We're going to make this community really nice and big. We're going to get informed. We're going to take the power back for ourselves in terms of being educated. There's nothing better than arriving with a peace of mind, knowing your own body, not your friend's body, your body. Let's quickly go back because I want to talk about your magic product. I did mention it in the beginning. So let's go back to, I would imagine this is going to tap in with vaginal health. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so in 2016, I surveyed my members. Gosh, that's almost 10 years ago. In 2016, I surveyed my members and I asked them what they wanted me to research and work on. And of course, at the time, I thought they were going to say things like sleep and mood changes and vasomotor symptoms. And the number one response that came back is women said, Shirley, we need another solution for vaginal dryness. And at the exact same time, a gynecologist in Switzerland, her name is Dr. Petra Stute, she had been doing research on hyaluronic acid. And as I mentioned, hyaluronic acid is a naturally occurring molecule, but it starts to decline in our 30s and in our 40s. And you know, I first learned about hyaluronic acid from the beauty industry, right? The beauty and cosmetics industry was putting hyaluronic acid in their products, but I didn't realize it was a molecule that my body used to make on its own. Makes sense now, right? But when it declines, that can change certainly the skin cells of the vulva and the vagina. So hyaluronic acid is an important ingredient for you to purchase when you're using a moisturizer. And you might be asking, a moisturizer? And I'm like, yeah. I mean, we moisturize our hands and our face and we don't think anything about it. That's like a twice a day reoccurrence, right? Well, the skin cells of the vulva and the vagina need that moisture as well. We need it for comfort. We need it to move comfortably. We need it to prevent vaginal dryness. And we also need it to prevent something called vaginal atrophy. And so atrophy is a term that's usually associated with muscles. So your bicep can atrophy if you don't use it. The vagina can atrophy as well, which means it will shrink. It will get smaller. And so this is a way to keep the vagina healthy by moisturizing and by talking to your doctor about the benefits of vaginal hormone therapy. So I co-developed a vaginal moisturizer, and it's called Feel Amazing, and you are welcome to check that out if you like. But just make sure that if you're shopping for a vaginal moisturizer, that the key ingredient that you're looking for is hyaluronic acid.
Right. That's great. That's so exciting. Where can we get the products? Can we buy it online?
Yeah, you can buy it at moisturizeyourvagina.com.
Oh, gonna love it, girls. We have so many tips going on here today. Now we have the cream. Now you have the book. So here's the book. I got it. Here we go. It is amazing. Oh, I've got the French side. It's translated,
yeah, it's
right?
French and English.
Okay, fantastic. It's called Feel Amazing, Your Invitation to Rethink Perimenopause, Menopause and Postmenopause. Amazon bestselling author, founder, Menopause Chicks. So this is also tons of case studies, fabulous information, a lot more detail than what we've spoken about today. And there's going to be some very cool things when we talk about vaginal atrophy, things like that, which I loved in the book. And a really great education. So thank you. I really enjoyed that. I think I'll leave all of the details of the book in the show notes as well. You've built this incredible Menopause Chicks community. Tell us more about the community. Like, where does it sit? It's on Facebook?
Yeah, it lives on Facebook, rightly or wrongly. But as I said, Facebook was where all women were hanging out when I started this journey 13 years ago. And it's not like other Facebook groups. So if you belong to a gardening or a recipe group, it doesn't work that way. It's an educational platform. And my promise to everyone there is that I specialize in knowledge transfer. So you are going to get answers that are rooted in evidence, rooted in the research. And what I love to do is to translate that information so that I can say, Andrea, this is what this means for you. Here's the guideline. But since you've given me a little bit about your story, I can tell you, here's what this means for you. And then your goal is to take that hopefully work with a reputable health team that can help you make the decisions that are going to be right for you. And the other goal of the community, of course, is to generate awareness around a lot of the things that we're talking about today. So you might come to the community curious about sleep or vasomotor symptoms, but you might leave feeling more confident that, oh, I'm supposed to sleep 7 hours a night. Oh, I'm supposed to sleep through the night without getting up to pee. Like, you will learn new things that will ultimately improve or enhance the quality of your life for the next 30 to 50 years.
And so I love the fact that it's educational. That's what we're looking for. We want to find a space where we can go, Shirley, I need your input on this. Shirley, I need a prompter for my doctor. I specifically struggle with, let's say, dry mouth, which we haven't mentioned today. I mean, is that even a symptom? Like, can you imagine? So there are specific symptoms that women are experiencing. I get terrible cramps in my calf muscles, and nothing's changed. I do yoga, I do weight training, but it'll be while I'm sleeping. And then I'll have to just breathe through it and flex into my feet and just be calm, and then it goes away. But that's new for me. So lots of cramping, even though I take a lot of supplementation.
Yeah. So the best thing that I can respond to that with is try to stop using the word just.
Thank you.
I just have to breathe through it, because just is a big wall that prevents us from getting curious. And so we tell ourselves stories all the time. And one of the mantras that I love to use is what I'm thinking true? So do I have to just get through this? Or is this actually a signal? Is my body trying to tell me something that I need to pay attention to? And maybe it's a magnesium deficiency, and maybe you take magnesium, but maybe it's not enough or not the right kind. And I'm not speaking to you directly because I don't know, and that would be a conversation that you would have with your healthcare provider. But it's a way for us to kind of unpack those thoughts and then maybe shift, maybe take a left instead of a right for the next 50 years. You turn left and you go, oh, you know what? I haven't had my ferritin level checked in 10 years. The next time I go to the doctor, I'm going to make an appointment and see if I can get my ferritin level checked. Because if I'm iron deficient, that could be affecting this, this, and this. One of my biggest bones of contention is actually that social media and people on social media put everything into a bucket, anything a woman could experience into a bucket and label it with menopause. That is not helping us move forward.
No, I hear you completely. I just want to thank you so much for your time. It's been a great conversation. We're going to have more support on Menopause Chicks, and I love the name. It's so fabulous. It's a great community. I'm on there. So get onto Menopause Chicks. All the stuff will be in the show notes. Amazing. Shirley, thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you so much for what you do for us as women and just spreading the word. It's amazing. Thank you for your cream. Going to be getting that. Thank you for your book. Already have. Check. I have one more question for you.
Sure.
I love it. It's like a quick, fun question. What is your favorite book or favorite song? It helps us get to know you better.
It has to be a Brene Brown book.
I'm
going to say Rising Strong by Brene Brown is my favorite book.
Great.
And Kind and Generous by Natalie Merchant is my favorite book.
Good. That's great. I haven't heard that. Maybe I have. Kind and Generous. I'm going to check it out. Okay, do that, and I'm going to put it into the notes so people can actually listen as well. You've got to know, when people like this, who are inspiring keynote speakers all over the world, I love to tap into their mindset and what they read. So that's very cool. Thank you so much. Let's do it again. There's a lot more to unpack. There are many other questions I have for you, so let's do it again soon.